What's going on YouTube? It's Eli with Common Sense here, and today I'm going to be showing you 10 of my top favorite springtime fragrances for men. Now, the springtime is perfect because, you're transitioning from this really cold weather and, you're just able to pull off a lot of these fresh scents that are really pleasing to the people around you and also to yourself. And I guarantee that these fragrances on these lists are going to get you compliments and you're gonna love them. So first off, I'm actually gonna give you guys two really budget-friendly springtime fragrances that are kind of like a little bonus. So first up, we have Womo by Hermenegildo Zenga. So this one is going to be a fantastic kind of a darker, woody citrus fragrance. Now I say dark and bright because it does have a lot of depth to it. So up top, you have some really nice citrus notes, including some bergamot. You also have a wonderful violet leaf note, and towards the middle, you have woody notes, cedar, and vetiver, because you have that fantastic violet leaf, which is sort of almost like a cucumber, kind of a cut cucumber vibe mixed with some of the vetiver and cedar, which give it a little bit darker of a vibe. And this one is just perfect for those days where you want something that's going to be a little bit darker, but at the same time a little bit invigorating at the same time. So this is a fantastically blended fragrance. Now you can get these online, I believe, for around $30–$35, but if you can find these in your local rack stores like I did, you can get a 50 ml bottle like this one for $10. So these are always going to be at TJ Maxx or some of those rack stores that you guys see. But man, this is fantastic. Womo for the first bonus fragrance. Number two on the cheap bonus, we have Chmensport by Carolina Herrera. So Carolina Herrera is known for a lot of fantastic men's fragrances, and they generally last a really long time. Now the reason that I picked this one I actually blind bought a couple years back, and I have a 50 ml version that I got, I believe, for around $20, or it might have been 15, I don't know. But this little bottle, it really just piqued my curiosity because it's really cool. You have this little fabric right here, and it was cheap enough that I wanted to try it out. Towards the top, you have grapefruit, bergamot, sage that really kind of opens up the nasal passage and keeps things kind of really nice and light. But then in the middle, you have juniper, Szechuan pepper, sea notes, and towards the base, you have sandalwood, oak moss, and vetiver. So the sandalwood and oak moss mixed with the Szechuan pepper really gives it an awesome, unique sort of wet, outside, almost like an earthy tone. Same with the juniper. The juniper and the sage just kind of bring everything back together, and it almost, to me, has sort of a wet concrete or like a wet fruit vibe to it. You're probably getting that for a little bit from the grapefruit and the sage, but just everything is fantastic in this fragrance. The Szechuan pepper, sandalwood, and oak moss, it just keeps everything smelling sort of like a cold spring day, if that makes sense. So Chmensport is my number 2 spot on my bonus. All right, so for the number 10 spot, we have Bulgari Aqua Marine. Now this one is a fantastic fragrance for the spring and summertime because it is sort of similar to a lot of other fragrances, but it does it in a wonderful way. This one smells a little bit similar to Dolce & Gabbana's Light Blue, but this one, I think it takes it a step farther and it smells absolutely fantastic. There is nothing quite as invigorating and sort of bright as this one because you've got just this amazing oceanic and marine vibe, as indicated by the name. So you've got grapefruit, neroli, you have petitgrain, you also have mandarin orange, you have seaweed, oceanic water notes, you have rosemary to kind of keep it tied down, and you also at the base have Virginia cedar and amber. So this definitely is fantastic, and at least to my nose, I do get a little bit of like driftwood, and so it's not just gonna be a grapefruit, bomb, because a lot of these fragrances have grapefruit, rosemary, and cedar, and these water notes, but this one does it really cool because it smells like you're at the ocean because it's got that seaweed, it's got that petitgrain, which is sort of like the leaves that are falling on the ground, and it just smells absolutely fantastic, and it lasts a long time. And you can get this for around $40, and sometimes you can pick them up in your local rack stores, but I highly recommend this one at my number 10 spot. Up next, we have Yves Saint Laurent's YO Fraiche. So YSL YO Fraiche is a fantastic springtime fragrance because it is just ice cold. But as you can see here, it has this really cool frosted bottle that goes from this just cold look. It just looks like an ice cube. And so that's kind of indicative of how this is gonna smell. So up top you have refreshing ginger, pepper, and lemon, which is just really nice because it's not too in your face, but at the same time, it's definitely refreshing. And in the middle, you have more notes like geranium, lavender, mint, which is really common in a lot of these designer fragrances that are sort of kind of blue, cold fragrances. And then in the base, you have cedar and also olibanum. And I also forgot to mention that this also has juniper berries, which also gives it sort of that sweet, but at the same time bitter note to it, and it just smells really nice on the skin. It's very strong for the first, hour or so, maybe half hour when you spray it down, but after that, the sillage, the scent trail is absolutely fantastic. I've got so many compliments with this one. If you spray this on your car ride to work or wherever you're gonna go, by the time that you arrive at your destination, you're gonna get compliments and you're gonna feel like a boss wearing this. So YSL Eau Fraiche is my number 9 spot. So for number 8 is Bentley Momentum Unlimited. Now Bentley has some really awesome fragrances and they're very cheap for the high quality juice that you get. So for this particular fragrance, this is a wonderful woody, leathery, fresh fragrance for men. So again, this one is leathery. You get tons of leather, but you also get a really nice, just refreshing kind of citrus fruity note in addition. So up top you have notes of cardamom, you have green apple and some other citruses, and in the middle you have a lot of vetiver, which keeps this really nice, sort of grassy, but at the same time not like really gross smelling, but a really nice, pleasing, sort of sweet, smoky vibe as well. You also have sandalwood, cedar, as well as leather, musk, and ambroxan at the bottom. So this has a lot of ambroxan, so it's that nice modern men's fragrance note that's gonna definitely reach into your nasal passages, and it's gonna be that note that kind of gets people thinking because it doesn't smell natural. So it's not crazy synthetic, but at the same time, it's very pleasing. So this one is really nice. Again, you have that green apple, which keeps it sweet and mixed with the grapefruit, citruses, and the cardamom, and the vetiver, as well as that really strong but very pleasing leather and musk in the bottom. It just makes for a really well-rounded fragrance. And this one, I get about 5 to 6 hours on my skin, but if I spray, 5 or 6 times, it lasts all day. So definitely pick this one up. So this is definitely a fresh approach to something that's really dark and kind of spicy at the same time, but this is really pleasing and it's absolutely fantastic for the price, which is I think around like $20 or $30 depending on where you get it. So definitely pick this one up because you are gonna love it. Next up on the list is one from the house of Yves Saint Laurent, and this one is YSL Loam Cologne Blue. Now I apologize for all the fingerprints, as this cap is definitely a fingerprint magnet, but I wear this fragrance all the time, and that just, it speaks to me because I have a lot of fragrances and I don't always get a chance to wear them, but I find myself reaching for this one as well as the previous fragrance a lot in the springtime and summertime, even in the fall. Honestly, this is a good, well-rounded one. Not necessarily the winter, but if you have any sort of weather that's a little bit warm, it could still be a little bit cool, but this one is fantastic. This is a really nice marine, aquatic, just amazing citrus fragrance. So this one definitely smells like a fresher version of YSL La Nuit de Loam. So this one is La Nuit de Loam. You have that warmth, the cardamom, as well as, the sandalwood and some of the patchouli, but this one is a much fresher take. And you have these really nice citrus C notes. You have a really awesome blood orange note up top with some more oranges, as well as some spicy pepper. It doesn't smell too spicy. It smells more warm and inviting, but at the same time, it's a little bit fresher than some of the other Loam lines. You also have notes of lavender, apple, you have geranium, and thyme. So a lot of these same notes are also found in a fragrance called Hollister Wave 2. Now this is a fragrance you can get for $10 at your local rack stores, but it smells nearly identical to this one for only $10. But I didn't put it on the list because I do like the quality of this one a lot better. It doesn't smell as synthetic. This one has a lot higher quality ingredients, and this one's better in my opinion. Finally, you have notes of patchouli, cedar, and sandalwood in the bottom to kind of even everything out, to give it a base that kind of carries it a little bit farther. The longevity on this one is not the best, but it does smell fantastic. So if you get a 100 ml bottle like this, you'll be good. Just spray it maybe 5 or 6 times, maybe 2 or 3 more than you normally would, and you know, this will last you a good amount of time. I sometimes bring this along with me because I do like to refresh myself throughout the day, especially if I'm working or if I go out to lunch and then I reapply a little bit so it's fresh by the time I go back to work so that it lasts me throughout the rest of the day. But this one is fantastic because it's just warm, it's sweet, but it's also fresh at the same time, and it's a perfect way to describe spring. It's fresh, it's a little bit warm, and not too hot at the same time. So definitely try that one out at my number 7 spot. Up next is a fragrance that I have worn myself. I haven't worn it in a long time, but I used to wear the heck out of this stuff when I was in college. So this one is Bulgari Blue Purom. As you can see, I put quite a dent in this, as this is a lot for me. It might not be a lot for everyone, but I just absolutely love this fragrance. This is a fantastic white floral citrusy fragrance, but definitely heavy on the florals. You've got a really amazing cardamom and sandal note up top again, and you also have some middle notes of ginger, juniper, and some more white florals. And towards the base you have tobacco blossom, teakwood, and green leaves. So I can't quite wrap my head around this one because it smells familiar, but at the same time it's very unique. And I think it's part of the juniper as well as some of that tobacco blossom, but it's very light, it's very floral, but at the same time it's not too, it doesn't smell like a flower bed, it doesn't smell like a garden. But you do have some of those green notes as well at the bottom, but this is just a fantastic spring fragrance for if you want something that's pleasing and if you want something that's a little bit floral, not quite so macho in your face, but a little bit lighter, or if you want something that kind of puts you in a relaxed state of mind. Definitely try this one out. I think the ladies are definitely gonna like this one. This one might not be too popular amongst men because it's not crazy macho. It's not a heavy leather fragrance like ombre leather or CK1 shock. It's going to be a lighter approach, and I think that it does definitely get you compliments for people who want something that's not as loud in your face as, you know, a leather fragrance or something like that. But this one is really nice. Definitely check it out at my number 6 spot. At my number 5 spot, it's another Givenchy fragrance, Givenchy Gentleman Cologne. Givenchy Gentleman Cologne came out in 2019, and I actually hadn't really smelled it all that much. I tried it one time when I was in a Macy's, you know, about a year ago, but I never really bought it, and I saw this on a lot of other people's lists and I had to try it for myself. So I bought a tester version. As you can see, it's got the notes on the back as well as the classification of everything, but this one smells really nice for the springtime. You've got some lemon, citruses, as well as more of that petitgrain note that I was talking about earlier that keeps everything smelling a little bit herbal, but at the same time really light and just fantastic. You also have some iris, you have some vetiver and rosemary in the middle, as well as a base of ambroxan and musk. So the ambroxan, musk, and the iris are really strong in this fragrance. It smells a little bit powdery, a little bit lipsticky, but not 100%. So I mainly smell 4 of these notes. I mainly smell the lemon, I smell the iris, which gives it sort of that really nice, almost a gasoline type of smell, but not as chemically and just gross smelling. But I also get the ambroxan and the musk. So this is a really fresh, light, white kind of fragrance that you'd want to wear on days where it's a little bit cloudy, but it's, you know, something that you want to be really clean smelling. So this smells a little bit like clean linens, and definitely something that you're going to want to smell like if you want to be clean in the springtime. I believe you can find this for about $40 to $50 depending on where you get it, but it's definitely a high quality juice, and the longevity is okay. I'd say it's about 4 to 5 hours, but you know, just bring it with you and spray it a couple times when you're out and about and you will be just fine. But yeah, definitely go for the 100 ml bottle, and I know you guys will really like this one because I really enjoy this one. I've worn this several times when it's a little bit cloudy outside, it's a little bit cold, you know, there's gray skies out here like today, but it's a really nice fragrance that puts me in a nice relaxed mindset while at the same time feeling really just clean. So this one is Givenchy Gentleman Cologne for my number 4 spot. Next up on the list is Neroli Portofino Aqua by Tom Ford. This fragrance is a fantastic springtime and summer fragrance. In this one, you're also gonna get some more citrus and white florals, but this is definitely a more realistic and natural smelling fragrance. So this also shares some of the notes as a lot of the other fragrances that I have, but there's nothing that captures this sort of feeling of spring like Tom Ford Neroli Portofino Aqua. So you have notes of lemon, bergamot, and neroli up top with more petitgrain and white florals, as well as orange blossom. And towards the base you have stuff like amberwood and white musk. So this one for me, whenever I go on bike rides in the springtime, I live by a whole bunch of orange orchards, and as soon as it turns spring, I smell the neroli blossoms and the orange blossoms and all that neroli, and it smells absolutely fantastic. And this captures that in my opinion, but it makes it a little bit fresher, and it just keeps it amazing, and it just completely reminds me of spring anytime that I smell this. I think that amberwood and a little bit of the white musk at the bottom keeps everything smelling really modern and clean at the same time. So this one is definitely going to be a little bit pricier. It's about $100-110 depending on where you find it, but I really like this one. And despite the okay-ish performance, it doesn't perform all that well. It lasts about I don't know, 4 to 5 hours, but I just spray a lot of this on, and I keep it with me because I love it so much, and I don't want this scent to fade, so I will spray it, and I will buy another backup bottle when I see this get to about half. So I love this fragrance a lot, and it's one of my all-time favorites for the spring. Up next is a fragrance that keeps me productive and also feeling amazing when I am working or working out. This one is Artisan Blue by Jean Varvatos. Now, Jean Varvatos makes a lot of amazing, high-quality smelling, fresh fragrances for men. There's Artisan Pure. I've smelled Artisan. I know they came out with a new one, Artisan XX, and I'm really excited to smell that one. This one's amazing because it is a really fresh, greenish blue fragrance. Now, even though it's called Artisan Blue, I almost want to call it Artisan Green because there's a lot of green notes. You have fresh, almost fresh cut greens, a nice vegetal, sort of aromatic, fresh, spicy version of Artisan. So up top it smells just like a fresh garden. You've got bergamot, basil, chayote, you've got pistachio, you've got bitter orange, and a little bit of lavender. So it smells like all of these natural oils and ingredients up top. And in the middle you have some grassy notes. You've got geranium, iris, orange blossom, clary sage, and towards the bottom you've got pine. You have that pistachio that makes it really unique, as well as some patchouli, cedar, and iris. So this one, absolutely fantastic because it smells 100% natural. It doesn't smell synthetic. It smells like a really nice natural version of a men's soapy fragrance, almost like a soapy body wash, but not cheap in any way. Do not let that discourage you. This one is perfect for the hot days when you want something that keeps you smelling clean and fresh, but at the same time a little bit herbal and just really modern and refreshing at the same time. This one is probably, I would say it approaches niche quality. It's just really nice, blended absolutely perfect, and it's a fantastic value for the price. So that was my number 8 spot. And on to number 9, we have another Tom Ford fragrance, Tom Ford's Grey Vetiver. Now there are a couple versions of Tom Ford's Grey Vetiver. There's the Eau de Parfum and the Eau de Toilette. So this one smells really fantastic because it's a nice woody, citrusy vetiver fragrance for the springtime. So if I ever need to meet somebody, you know, who's in a higher position than me, if I'm meeting someone for the first time in the business world, I always wear this one, Tom Ford Grey Vetiver, because it's earthy, but it's also really nice and pleasing. It's light, it's a little bit spicy, but at the same time, it's not too in your face, it's not aggressive, it's not saying, smell me, this, you know, I'm gonna be the center of attention. No, it's something that's sort of really light in the kind of background, but at the same time, you do pick up on it, and it's light enough that it's not going to be too obnoxious, and it's gonna be really pleasing for the office setting. You've got sage, grapefruit, orange blossom, and in the middle you have orris root, nutmeg, and pimento, which kind of gives it that slightly peppery, warm, and slightly spicy feeling, you know, in the middle. And towards the base you also have vetiver, wood notes, oak moss, and amber. So this one's blended absolutely perfect in my opinion because it scratches all of those needs and wants that I have in a fragrance, because I like it to smell fresh. I like it to smell slightly sweet. It's also a little bit peppery, so it's gonna be a little bit spicy, but at the same time, it's a little bit warm and fresh at the same time. So it's all of these things bottled into one amazing fragrance, you know, presentation. Definitely pick this one up if you can. I just would highly recommend buying the bigger one, because if you're like me and you like something that's going to be versatile, you can wear it anytime, basically, anytime that it's slightly warm, or any setting that you want to smell not too in your face, but at the same time really pleasing. Definitely get this one, Tom Ford Grey Vetiver. Last but not least, we have my hands down 100% favorite fragrance for the springtime and summer. In fact, this is in my top 5 favorite fragrances of all time. This is English Laundry's Riviera. So Riviera does a fantastic job at making something that is good, versatile, and fantastic for any warm occasion. For some reason, this automatically takes my mind back to the summertime, and it kind of reminds me of family. It reminds me of barbecues and good times that we've had, because it's a little bit sweet, it's creamy, but you also have really amazing citrus. You got lemon, bergamot, cedar, as well as some fantastic florals, white, creamy notes in the middle with, you know, mandarin orange. You have a little bit of nutmeg, you have vetiver, geranium, patchouli, and at the bottom you have sandalwood, guaiac wood, oak moss, rosemary, and amyris. But this just is a fantastic 100% hands down best springtime summer fragrance that you can buy, and it's dirt cheap. It's $13, I believe. Yeah, $13. I bought this at TJ Maxx. They have this all the time at your rack stores. And if you can find the boxed version, I believe it's the Eau de Parfum concentration. And even though this one was just out and about, this one is the Eau de Parfum. But I've heard from a lot of people that if you get the boxed version, it's slightly stronger. I don't know if I would particularly agree with that, because this one I bought just out like this, and it was also an Eau de Parfum. But it lasts a long time. It's amazing on my skin. It just keeps me happy and grounded in the summer and springtime, and it's just something that keeps me just very, very happy. And so I highly recommend this one, English Laundry Riviera. That's gonna do it for today's video. That was a very long one, so I think you guys like these. I know I like these longer videos because sometimes I like to put stuff on in the background. I like to listen to long lists, you know, when I'm doing stuff, if I'm doing homework or whatever, if I'm doing any sort of work, housework, you know, I just like putting on these videos in the background as something that I can listen to and also kind of multitask. So I hope you guys enjoyed these videos. My name is Eli with Common Sense, and until the next one, bye-bye.